guys, something special is happening in here. That's right, it's Brackets and Jackets, bringing it back for Brackets and Jackets, special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see, this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast and Jackets Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. Alright, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is Brackets and Jackets for the denizens of islands.
Looking for a fast way to track what's moving online right now? Head over to Qnotables.com. It's a centralized index of notable clips, headlines, and references being shared across the community, organized for quick browsing. Use it to spot patterns, pull links, and build your own research list. Qnotables.com. Browse the notables, verify the facts, stay informed. All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
From the Q Research Boards, April 20th, 2026. Top story. The Strait of Hormuz remains the center of the global confrontation tonight as the United States enforces its blockade against Iran with direct military action, public footage, and sustained pressure on shipping. U.S. forces intercepted the Iranian-flagged vessel Tuska after repeated warnings were ignored over a period of hours, then fired into the engine area, boarded the ship, and seized control. The Pentagon has now released video of that operation, giving the public a visible example of how this blockade is being enforced in real time. At the same time, more than 20 commercial ships cleared Hormuz over the weekend, showing that traffic is reopening in limited ways even while the military standoff remains active. President Trump is using new polling to argue the public supports his posture toward Iran, while Israel's ambassador to the United Nations is openly demanding answers about why French, Chinese, and Pakistani vessels were still moving through the strait despite the blockade. This is no longer just a naval story. It is now a pressure campaign involving military force, diplomacy, trade routes, international signaling, and public opinion all at once. Domestic politics. On the home front, the administration is pushing a broad accountability and restructuring agenda that touches Congress, higher education, spending, fraud, and the economy. Anna Paulina Luna is intensifying the fight over old congressional misconduct settlement records, saying House oversight has moved toward subpoenas to uncover how taxpayer money was used and what was hidden before 2017. The administration is also moving to cut federal student loan support for degree programs it argues do not produce meaningful labor market value, framing the shift as a workforce correction and a blow against ideological waste. Vice President Vance's anti-fraud task force is being promoted as an early success as the White House points to health and hospice enforcement actions as proof that the government is finally cracking down on abuse. President Trump is also leaning hard into the economic message, amplifying poll numbers that show Republican strength on inflation, border security, immigration, and tariffs, while continuing to argue that tariffs are not just short-term politics, but part of a long-range industrial strategy. Add in the appeals court decision allowing construction of the White House ballroom to continue, and the message from this administration is clear: build, expose, cut waste, and keep moving. Election integrity. The election segment has more depth tonight because it is not just about one bill. It is about the broader Republican push to tie language, citizenship, voting procedures, and old intelligence battles into one argument about legitimacy and national control. The centerpiece is H.R. 2054, the Voting Only Through English Act, which would deny Federal Election Administration funds to states that print federal ballots in languages other than English. That measure lands alongside the continuing birthright citizenship fight, where Trump is still pressing the issue even as the Supreme Court appears skeptical of ending it by executive order. Fresh reporting that nearly 1 in 10 babies born in the United States in 2023 were born to mothers without lawful permanent status gives conservatives another statistical hook in that argument. Then there is the political accountability layer. Kash Patel says arrests are coming in connection with the 2016 Russia probe, and commentary tied to Tulsi Gabbard is keeping pressure on impeachment-era intelligence figures. Whether every specific claim fully lands or not, the direction is unmistakable. Trump world is trying to fuse election integrity, immigration, and intelligence accountability into one long-running case that the system was bent and now needs to be forced back into line.
At shop.isitwaya.com, everything you buy supports Acun.top, the place where people talk freely no matter what. Check out our Acun Honey Pot, a jar of yummy honey that's as strong as your voice. Put it on toaster and tea. It's not just honey, it's freedom in every bite. Then there's Acun Butter, a smooth handmade skin cream that makes you feel good while you fight for what's right. Awesome wood and pieces for display only. Hang them up or set them out. They're for showing off Acun's tough spirit. Want to help even more? Get a proto membership. So go to shop.isitwaya.com now and grab some goodies. Help akun.top keep free speech alive, and let's keep the ideas flowing loud and free.
All reports can be found on Q Research or Qnotables.com. Notables do not equal endorsements. We are researchers who deal in open source information, reasoned argument, and dank memes. We do battle in the sphere of ideas and ideas only. We neither need nor condone the use of force in our work here.
International conflict. Internationally, the lineup is broader than just Iran. Netanyahu and Javier Milei have launched the Isaac Accords, a new strategic alignment meant to deepen Israel's ties with Argentina and potentially expand into a wider bloc across the Americas. Ambassador Mike Huckabee's presence at the signing made clear that the Trump administration wants visible ownership of that alignment. At the same time, Britain is dealing with its own pressure point as Keir Starmer faces fallout over the Mandelson vetting scandal and growing demands for accountability higher up the chain. Washington has also renewed a limited Russian oil waiver, a sign that even while pressure on Moscow remains in place, energy realities still force exceptions and recalibration. Meanwhile, Russia's security chief is warning that NATO states risk direct involvement if drone attacks continue through their airspace. And in another sensitive regional flashpoint, the Israeli military is investigating the destruction of a Jesus statue in southern Lebanon, with Israeli leaders condemning the act after outrage spread among Christians. So the foreign desk tonight is not one clean line. It is multiple fronts: Middle East escalation, Western Hemisphere alliance building, NATO pressure, British political scandal, and symbolic religious fallout from the Lebanon theater. Crime. The crime block is heavy tonight, and it cuts across fraud, trafficking, terrorism, and narco-warfare. Federal prosecutors say Shamim Mafi was arrested at LAX in a case involving Iranian-made drones, bomb components, bomb fuses, and millions of rounds of ammunition allegedly tied to Sudan. That turns an underground weapons network into a direct U.S. criminal case with national security implications. In New York, a doctor has pleaded guilty in a $24 million COVID testing fraud scheme, reinforcing the White House claim that major pandemic-era abuse is still being uncovered years later. In the Caribbean, U.S. Southern Command says Joint Task Force Southern Spear carried out a lethal strike on a vessel linked to designated terrorist organizations and narco-trafficking routes, killing 3 men and showing how drug interdiction is increasingly being framed as counter-terror warfare. Add in the donor war, with Adelson and Soros pouring tens of millions into rival super PACs, and even the political money story starts to feel like part of a broader contest over power, influence, and the machinery behind the next cycle. This block is not small crime. It is organized systems, trafficking systems, fraud systems, narco systems, and political funding systems. Tech. The tech segment tonight is not just silicon and gadgets. It is the broader innovation lane where medicine, industrial policy, and research all overlap. The Joe Rogan interview with Rick Perry and W. Brian Hubbard has pushed ibogaine and psychedelic treatment research further into the national conversation, just as the administration expands support for new approaches to addiction, trauma, and mental health. That gives this story more than fringe interest. It now sits near the edge of actual federal policy. On the economic side, Trump's tariff message remains tied to reindustrialization, leverage, and manufacturing discipline rather than one-off trade fights. And on the education side, the move against weak value degrees is part of the same philosophy: measurable output, strategic workforce development, and less public money going to programs the administration sees as detached from national need. So the tech lane tonight includes biotech, mental health treatment innovation, industrial policy, and the fight over what kind of human capital the country should actually be funding. Closing segment. To close, the show ends on memory, symbolism, and momentum. Oklahoma marked the 31st anniversary of the Oklahoma City bombing, bringing the country back to one of the darkest domestic terror attacks in American history, and reminding viewers that national memory still matters. At the same time, the administration and its allies are pushing a message that today's fight is about accountability across every front: Congress, intelligence, elections, trade, immigration, Iran, and old institutional protection schemes. The political donor war is already underway, the military pressure campaign is active, the fraud crackdown is expanding, the courts are becoming a battleground on citizenship and executive power. And the broader message from Trump world is that the old order is not being negotiated with politely anymore. It is being challenged head on. That is the thread tying this whole rundown together tonight. Force abroad, exposure at home, and a deliberate push to make every pressure point matter at once.
Every voice matters. The power of free speech is more important than ever. Imagine a place where you can share your thoughts freely, explore new ideas, and engage in meaningful conversations anonymously. With online anonymity, you can express yourself without fear of judgment. It's about freedom, creativity, and connection. Join the conversation that matters. Embrace your voice. Celebrate your freedom. Visit 8kun.top today. That's 8kun.top.
That's all for now. Stay alert, stay informed, and never hand your thinking over to anyone on a screen, including me. God bless you, God bless our troops, and God bless the United States of America. See you soon.